Before the war, they worked as clerks or nurses. No one could have imagined that they would soon turn out to be more ruthless than many men. Only after climbing the career ladder in Auschwitz, Ravensbrück or Majdanek, they showed their true nature, depraved and unforgiving. How far have they gone in their cruelty? Let's try to figure it out. What could a German woman who earned too little or did not earn at all do during the Second World War? How could a person who did not have sufficient education, talent or intelligence advance his career? She could have become an SS Officerin or a warden in one of the German concentration camps and death camps. Women were well paid for this work, and often they performed their professional duties without hesitation, and often even went beyond them, doing evil even for the sake of fantasy. Which of the guards showed the most cruelty? You will find out the answer in my video. Before you continue watching, please subscribe to my channel and like it. Of course, this is according to the desire. The main thing is to be sincere. Born in 1923, Irma Gries became one of the most recognizable female wardens. Perhaps because her appearance did not match her behavior at all. The prisoners of Auschwitz-Birkenau gave her a quite appropriate nickname, the Beautiful Monster. One of them, Gisela Perl, said about the matron, "She was one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. Her body was perfect, her face shrewd and angelic, her eyes blue and cheerful, the most innocent eyes imaginable. And it was Irma Gries who was the most depraved, cruel and inhumane in her cruelty of all those I encountered." Gries quickly dropped out of school. She wanted to become a nurse, but her knowledge was not enough to pass the exams. In the summer of 1942, she studied at Ravensbrück and later, on her own initiative, was sent to work at Auschwitz-Birkenau. There she first became a telephone operator, and then a supervisor in a women's camp. She looked after working prisoners, and when they performed their duties too slowly, she set dogs on them. After her promotion, she looked after Jewish women in the camp. Together with Joseph Mengele, she participated in some selections. She killed people she chose without remorse. Beautifully dressed, in a uniform sewn for her by one of the prisoners, she spread around her not only the smell of perfume, but also the ghost of horror. Witnesses of her exploits later said that Gries loved to whip women and kick them. Then she experienced pleasure. She had sexual relations with both SS men and women prisoners. She was bisexual and used her position to subjugate anyone. After the end of the war, she never admitted her guilt, but the evidence of her crimes was irrefutable. On December 13, 1945, she was executed in Amlin by the British executioner Albert Pierrepoint. She was only 22 years old at the time. Braunsteiner, like Gries, dreamed of becoming a nurse before the war, but could not enroll in a suitable school. In 1939, she got a job in Ravensbrück. From 1942 to 1944, she worked in Majdanek, and then returned to her former position at the Central Women's Camp. All the prisoners remembered her as one of the most cruel guards. Her nickname Mare was not accidental. The guard was tall and had great strength, which she used when trampling prisoners. The trampling Mare also did not deny herself the pleasure of flogging prisoners sent to the gas chambers. The ruthless criminal was sentenced to just 3 years in prison. No one thought that Hermine Braunsteiner was the trampling Mare who was wanted all over the world for crimes in concentration camps. However, her new name and citizenship did not save her from prison. She was discovered by Simon Wiesenthal, a famous Nazi hunter, in the mid-1960s. In the 1970s, she appeared before a German court during the third trial of a team from Majdanek. In 1981, she was sentenced to life imprisonment, but spent the last 3 years of her life at large due to poor health. Ilse Koch, born in 1906, had many nicknames. She was called Commander, Bitch and Buchenwald Witch. Before becoming them, she worked as an accountant and secretary. In 1932, she joined the NSDAP, where she met Karl Koch, an SS officer who later became her husband. The couple settled in Buchenwald and received 3 commendations. Ilse Koch was capable of almost unimaginable atrocities. She was fascinated by the tattoos on the skin of the prisoners who were under her command. She carefully examined their skin, and those who had interesting drawings on their bodies were quickly killed. Ilse Koch decorated gloves, handbags, photo album covers and even lampshades with these drawings. Ilse could sentence prisoners to death for any reason, often it just depended on her mood. Prisoners' lives were often cut short simply because they dared to even look at she. She was also very beautiful, even more beautiful than Irma Grese. Ilse cheated on her husband with SS men and forced prisoners to have a relationship with her. After the war, the Koch couple was arrested for embezzlement for the first time. At the Buchenwald trial in Dachau alone, a woman was accused of involvement in the deaths of about 50,000 prisoners. She was sentenced to life imprisonment. That's when she got pregnant for the fourth time to avoid jail. She never saw her youngest son, but she was released for a short time. In 1951, she was again sentenced to life imprisonment. And indeed, she spent the rest of her life in prison, until September 1, 1967, until she died in her cell. Maria Mandel, born in 1912, during the trial related to her criminal activities, openly admitted that her main motive was money. She also said that if it wasn't for the war, she probably would have become a nurse. At the trial, she claimed that she did not know what was really going on outside the gates of the German camps. However, when she ended up in Auschwitz-Birkenau and became the director of the women's camp, she knew exactly what to do. Her behavior was one of the most violent that could be encountered during the Second World War. She personally signed documents directing about 500,000 people to the gas chambers, sending them to their deaths. Someone may say that she was just an executor of orders and did not personally kill anyone. However, this was not the case at all. Whenever she had the opportunity, she committed crimes. Like the famous Dr. Mengele, this supervisor chose people to whom she was more lenient. Since she was a lover of music, she founded a women's orchestra and created for its members the best conditions that are possible in the camp. However, this act of mercy did not save her when the case came to court. After the war, even her own father refused to shelter her, and she was sentenced to death. The execution was carried out on January 24, 1948 in the Montelupik prison in Krakow. When you learn about all the crimes committed by German guards, it's hard to believe that one of them escaped punishment or spent only about a dozen years behind bars. In 1945, the Germans in a panic destroyed documentation that could testify against them, and it was not difficult to escape in the post-war turmoil. Hermine Braunsteiner was not the only one who spent many years at large. It was the same with Hildegard Lettert, Jane Gerda Bernago or Hertha Bode. The last of them in an interview said that her work was not a mistake, otherwise she would have become a prisoner of the camp. Thank you for watching, friends. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel and like it. Write in the comments what you think about these criminals. See you soon.